Hello, my
Right.
beautiful viewers. How are you feeling? I feel like the sun. I've got my yellow shirt on. I've got one of my favorite amazing ladies in Arizona that is here, and I had the privilege to hug her and spend some time with her. She is
Mhm.
our spotlight author, beautiful Therese. I cannot wait for the show to start. I do also see you, my beautiful diamond beauties. You are watching, so please, you are so welcome to post your beautiful comments. And remember, if you get goosebumps, give us the sunglasses emojis. Okay,
Cool.
so first of all, you will see we have beautiful Therese on the screen, and we've got our beautiful Laura. And there is Gail. Gail was last week our spotlight author, and Gail is our guest panel for this week. So, Gail, first of all, thank you so much for being our guest panel. Thank you for going through the book so that you are able to ask questions. So I want to do two shout outs. First of all, to beautiful Krista Rose. She's there in Cancun and she's on vacation. In South Africa, we call it a holiday. So
Holiday.
I am speaking the King's English and yeah, she's on holiday. And then I also would love to do a shout out to beautiful Miracle Man, Howard Brown. He is going through his journey, and all I can ask if you can pray for him. Thank you. Thank you for all your prayers and all your blessings. So, ladies, are you ready to start? To start and ask questions. So, my beautiful Gail, if I can ask you to please introduce yourself.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Gail Kraft. I am also an author, and I am an empowerment master and have become a member of this amazing group of women who are all about energy and power. And I feel like I'm at home. So thank you, Cindy. Thank you.
Thank you. My beautiful Laura.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Gail, it's just an honor to have you with us 2 weeks in a row. Thank you for stepping in. Howard, we love you. Keep healing, getting better. Krista, I bet we all wish we were sitting on the island with you right now because it's getting cold again here. Laura Brennan Ballet, and I am the founder of the Science of Empowerment Mind Development, and I specialize in thought energy. And what I love about this powerhouse of a show today is women empowering women, and then we are empowering the world. And I have a bit of an exclusive. So I have hit Amazon 3-time bestseller this week, but the exclusive now, and I waited to say something today, it'll be out for the world. I am now internationally #1 bestseller of the Science of Empowerment. And so
So
much of
good.
has to do with the love of writing and what Sinette has put together. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. But really, this is a testament to her vision and her intention to bring awareness, right, to the craftsmanship of writing and empowering one another. So thank you very much, Therese. We look forward to talking to you and questioning you in the
Thank you.
spotlight. So, Miss Sinette, my beautiful dancing queen, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, my life force. So, my beautiful viewers, I am Sanette. I'm your voice amplifier. I create space and stages for incredible souls to come and to share their wisdom, their brilliance, and now their transformative stories in a book form. So, Therese, I would love you to introduce yourself. And I must just tell you, Michael, meeting you in person,
Yeah.
reading your book, it's like we were sitting next to each other. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. So I'm Therese Skelly, and I started out as a psychotherapist, and I say, don't let that scare you unless I'm trying to date you, and then you should probably be afraid. So I spent the first couple decades of my professional career as a therapist, and then weirdly, I was a business coach, zero background, no. I mean, it was the wildest soul thing, and I talk about that in my book, right? That I'm suddenly a business coach. I have a criminal justice major and a counseling master's, right? And like okay, I don't know what a spreadsheet is, but oh, sure, I'll be a business coach, right? So I literally was dropped in 2001. I went to coaching school. Like, that's a long time. And throughout the years, back in those days, we couldn't say the words we've said today. We already talked about energy and empowerment and intuition, and we weren't doing that in 2001. I was a marketing strategist, hardcore business. Then about 2008, I kind of snuck in and like, I know the mindset. I can talk to the mind. And then along the way, I realized like I was knowing stuff that they didn't teach me in therapy school. I'm like, what? How do I know that it's your grandfather's mother's curse from the four generations? My work the last decade has been like, oh my, I'm an intuitive. And it took a really long time of full transparency. How the heck do I talk about all those things together? Right. And so I call myself the intuitive business mentor. And so I use the energy work. I use my pendulum. I use the diagnosis of like, oh, okay, there's a block. And then I use the psychology work and understanding the mind and the subconscious. And then I use the vision coaching stuff to walk them into something else. So I'm so blessed. Like, it's like they say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That is so me. So I found my space and I'm just on fire with it right now.
I'm going to give Gail the opportunity to ask a question first. But
Okay.
however, I've learned from Lisa. I want to quickly show you what you have inspired me. So when I was in
The
Sedona,
pendulum. Yay,
I
girl.
got my own. I got my own.
Pendulums. Everybody should have a pendulum. I usually have 5 at a time, but yeah, that's so good. I'm
No,
excited for you.
that's my first one, and it was in honor of you.
I received that. Thank you. Here. Boop, boop.
So
Nice. That's great.
there is quite a lot of comments.
Comments
So
going.
Gail,
Yeah.
do you want to read the comments for us and then ask your first question?
Sure. So this is an example of what is this live viewer message? Oh, click here. Okay. So excited for the new show. Wow, a guest panel. Thank you so much. This is growing to be good. So we all know who that's from. Love you, Krista and Howard. Then I love you. Is this ninth?
The show today. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. The show today, you are amazing. And then you are so good at
That was
what
my
is it?
pendulum. I
Attitude. Oh,
think
you're so
the
good at it
pendulum.
too. I love the pendulum. I love that whole energy thing. So,
Yes.
my first question, I have so many.
Okay.
Okay. So, in your book, you said your soul has created this conflict for you. Love
Yes.
it. 90% of my actions were coming from a place of needing to prove myself.
Yeah.
Love it. So can relate. But can you share a turning point in your life when you realized that this was true and what you did about it?
I already told you that in 2001, my hands were going. Well, I didn't tell you the backstory. My hands were going to a keyboard, going, "Oh my gosh, wait! I can't be a business coach. I'm applying, right?" So there was no conscious part of me that said, "Well, hey, let's plan your career trajectory. Just jump in and do something." I was like, "Wait, what?" So something came. The universe brought something, and thank God I had the courage to respond. Even though, now here's the thing, right? My soul knew, so somehow my fingers were on the keyboard. My little head's like, really? Like, you're such a fraud. They like, you don't even, like, you can barely balance a checkbook. How are you going to coach business owners? But I prevailed. I didn't stop myself. And so I think, what happened, and I share a little bit in the book, I just said yes to all the things, all the things, all the things. And that meant, I started changing. I started having different conversations. Before because my kids were little at this time, I was a kind of a part-time business owner and more a full-time mom. I was a room mom, and that was my primary focus. So my peers were therapists and moms, basically. And now I met women that had 6-figure business. Like, wait, what? That's a thing? They were really elevating spiritual conversations. We're talking quantum, and I'm like in this whole new world. Well, then my husband's like, I don't really, like, who are you? Like, what? I liked it when you were a therapist. A lot of my family, like, you were, I could tell people, like my mother's like, I don't know what you do. And I'm like, no. So I think I didn't do anything necessarily, Gail. I just said yes to all the things. And then slowly people started pulling away. And the biggest one that pulled away was my husband.
Yes.
He divorced me 20 years ago. And we, the blessing of it, we stayed dear for like till the day he died. We were like besties. But that I absolutely know, it's like when I made that choice, I went on a different road, and it wasn't the staying small road. And I would, he made a lot of money. I was really comfortable. I was kind of a kept woman. Now I'm like, okay, now I'm divorced and it's the recession. Good times. So I didn't plan for things. I just allowed for things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm the witch in the family, so I totally can
Yeah, you're the
relate.
crazy one.
Yeah.
You got it.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Therese.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but so what's going to happen, Therese, is I know Sanette and I, we as a panel, we bump off of each other's questions all the time because we're
Cool.
so like-minded. So out of an
Mm-hmm.
entire book, somehow we always seem to have
Find
the
the same
same
ones.
questions. We do.
Of
Um,
course.
and I think even though no matter how we really pose the questions to you, it's all going to be beautiful. So we may piggyback off. But I do want to ask you this. So
Okay.
I'm all about empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
and you are too. And some of us move into that quantum field of possibilities, and some of
Mm-hmm.
us have no idea what that
Right.
means. And we
Right.
understand kind of the word empowerment, it gets thrown around a lot.
Mm.
But how do you, and I know I've read the book, but for the listeners, and I always like to give them something that they can walk away from
Mm-hmm.
with. So, how do you empower clients to know the difference? And you touched on this a little bit between soul alignment and just a dream, just a thought process, just
Hmm.
escapism, because there is a difference there.
Um,
Yeah.
I feel so. I have to do visuals. Okay. It feels like, oh gosh, oh crap. It was like this. Because again, the most thing I was supposed to do is, and even every single thing that I've done that would be like, whoa, on paper, that's so crazy. And then I have to overcome, because what happens is, let me back up. I think with the soul alignment pieces, there's like like a little exhilaration, but you never hear, you're a stupid loser. You got to do what you can't do. Do you see what I mean? So there's the soul part of us that wants to expand. This is what I teach. The soul part is because we're one with nature. And so if you're like, wow, it's so weird. I'm just reading all these books, or I'm following these people, or it's like there's a pull. Literally, it is a pull towards, right? And then the downside is our subconscious that protects us, that lives, it's not the mind, it lives in the body. It's going to be like, oh, sunshine, that is silly. Sit down, because the body literally needs to keep us safe, small, and stuck. The body is like, I consider it like a playpen or a dog crate, depending on what your children are, right? Because the body's main job is to keep us alive. And so I'm doing this crazy thing like dating a younger man or changing careers. And my body's like, not the body, the subconscious. Everything in is going to be like, are you insane? So understand that I think what happened, and I'm deviating a little bit from your question, but I think this is imperative, because we cannot let the mind talk us into or out of, because our mind can only conjure from our past. Like, well, I made 80,000, maybe I can make 100 grand, right? Our mind measures from what we've done or what we see is possible with others. And the mind is also going to be like, nobody's going to believe you. Who are you? What do you have? And that's a lot. A lot of the book is how to navigate the mind, the little voices, the shaming thoughts. And so there's going to be a natural pull. That is the soul thing. Then you have to navigate it. I just kind of went on a trail there, but does that answer your question?
This is the beauty and the power of this show. There
Yeah.
is no wrong
Wrong
way
answer.
to
Yeah. Right.
grasp
Yeah.
your creativity and what you've written. But I thought it was important because many of us do feel the pull and
Mm-hmm.
we do not
Yeah.
honor it.
Right.
We
And
just
that's
don't.
what this book is about. Right. Right.
Exactly. And that's what I love. It's reminding you through that book that even though you are feeling that nudge, this right, that the universal
Mm-hmm.
guide. I always think of
Yeah.
how my father, if I walked into a door, he would put right his hand on the small of your back, the
Mm.
gentleman way to lead his
Mm-hmm.
daughter through something. And I think about that when the universal nudge. And so I think you just express it so beautifully. There is remembrance in the physicality,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then there's that knowing, and learn how to honor the knowing. And that's, I think, what we all do with our writing and our speaking and
Mm-hmm.
everything we're doing so beautifully. And I'm sure Sinette had both of these questions ready to go.
So I just had to skip to question 4 because
Yeah.
all of them
Yeah.
has answered. But I just quickly want to read. Christiana loved it. Sunglasses on. Didn't plan for things. Just went along with it. And like a gal was showing, putting that. And then Christiana, our mind and body are limited, yet our spirits are limitless. Yes,
Yes.
I
Yes.
understand the pulling in a gentle way. I love it. So, my beautiful one, I love that you said God, life, spirit gave you a vision and you did the disclaimer for whatever people
Mm-hmm.
want to
Mm-hmm.
call God. I loved
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted to say, that was the promise, how you show up in your business and how you being will be mirrored back to you, to your business, like a perfect hologram. When I read that, I was in goosebumps. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. A lot of the work again, back up. When we start, there's two pieces to business, right? There's the skill we have. So I'm a coach, right? So I had to learn how to do coaching. And then there's a whole other thing called being a business owner. And that involves marketing and selling and getting your work. That's a whole other skill set, right? So where people break down is in their service delivery. I generally work with women's service delivery persons. They're like this. They're like, oh, all of me. Then they go to market or sell. They're like, I just did a class a couple weeks ago about identity, like marketing identity, and that's where people break down because there's a lot of connotations, like ugh, right? And so for me, that those are the same. I'm the same person in a sales conversation, in a marketing, in my. There is no like, okay, I got to put my client hat on. There's no difference. So I show up fully authentic, which might mean like my dog is really trained, right? So I'm, like at the end of every session, I'm like, okay, bye, love you, and the dog's like, oh, time to go on a walk. He literally, if he hears bye, he's like, you're free now. And so for me, love is a what a surprise I'm hanging with you, Senate. Like that is part of my value. That's who I show up as. It's threads through everything because I want people to go, oh, the experience of working with her, what I'm reading on the page, what I'm seeing, that's the same. And so I think in the beginning, and a lot of this book talks like we think we have to be something else. We have to be professional. We have to be professional. What is professional? I want real. Screw professional. I just want real, right? So I think I know when I first started, I thought I had to wear a black banker suit. I've never had a black banker suit in my
I
whole. I
love
mean,
it.
but I was like, put the suit on. Okay, I'm a businesswoman now. I had this like idea that I had to dress a certain way, right? So how you be is it is kind of the messaging is our words, what we say, it's our promise, but for me it's an energetic. When you walk into my room, if it's a Zoom or whatever, you my beingness is gonna wrap around you. I might take a stand for you, I might get a little fiery because I am, but that's the beingness. And so with my clients, we don't just work on the tactics and strategies. Like, who do you have to be to achieve that next level? Who do you have to be to attract that client or sell that? That's the most important part is now the being. So, whew, I'm
I
spitting
love
fire
that.
now, girl.
I love that. And Christiana said you helped her with her elevator pitch
Yeah, she
in
was,
one of
yeah.
the
Yay.
classes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, authenticity is the key. That's what helps me most. And she put sunglasses on. My beautiful girl. It's now
Yeah.
your turn.
Oh my goodness. And yes, you ladies are using the questions I had too. This is really, I'm not
How fun that
surprised, not
is. Yeah.
surprised. Um, so at some point in your book, you talk about secondary gains. I love secondary gains.
Yeah.
Can you give an example of secondary gains that the audience can relate to, how that shows up, and maybe what you can do about it?
So good. Okay. So a little background. Um,
Mhm.
if you were to have, I have it in the book somewhere, but I don't have it with me now. So imagine an iceberg, right? So there's the tip of the iceberg here, but the most of it, the bulk of the iceberg is under the surface. So we, as big as they are, we only see this much. Okay. So that represents the subconscious and the conscious mind. So the conscious mind, we only have access to 5 or 10% of it. As I say, you get to get up and go, I think I'll wear a purple shirt today. That's it. So many of your choices are influenced by the subconscious. Okay, so in the subconscious is, all our early imprinting, the beliefs, the ancestral stuff, our religion, our culture, like all the stuff that makes us up, what we have access to is literally the subconscious. So here I get, let's say I'm working with, or let's say you're working with a coach, right? And I go, okay, Gail, not you, but I'll just use you as proxy. Okay, Gail, we're going to grow your business. I'm going to have you do this, 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 this. And your conscious mind says, that's a fantastic idea. I'm going to do that. That's a yes. So put the gas on. Yes, I'm going to do that. But then maybe in Gail's subconscious, there's the memory that she was told like, well, like, you're not going to be able to do that. Who do you think you are? Like, no women in our family have like, blah, 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 whatever that is, right? So the subconscious piece then floats up, reminding you very vigorously, or in my case, throws me down and breaks bones. Mine, it's not the little voices, it's, oh yeah, because I can't do it. I have a broken wrist. What? It's powerful. And so what happens is the subconscious kicks in and it's all about safety. So it's literally this dance of desire and then safety and desire. And that's that soul expansion versus subconscious. So here's a couple of my tenets. Number one, you have to make the subconscious conscious, because when you have awareness, you have choice. Woo, woo, woo. Because a lot of us, we literally live our lives like, wow, why am I doing that? Wait, do I really believe that? How come I'm that? So when you start just literally going, that's so here's how you do it. You go, okay, Therese gave me this coaching assignment and I'm yes, but I'm hearing all these voices or I'm really afraid. So what you do is you just go, what are you afraid of? Like most people, when they get resistance, they go, I'm like, lean in, lean all the way in. And I often do parts work. Okay, there's a part of me that really wants to do that. Oh, and there's another part of me that's terrified. What I do is I go, oh, well, 65% of you doesn't want it, and it's from your father's side, blah, blah, blah. I can do that part. But you can do it on your own when you can pull it off. Like a really powerful technique is going, I'm the part of Gail that's really wanting to go forward. And I'm the part of Gail, I don't trust you because you're going to go nuts and you're going to make so much money. Nobody's going to want you. And then you're going to be a homeless cat lady. And you're like, really? No, that's not true. And I know I'm being playful, but that's literally what it's like. You talk to the part, you find the aspect that is going, no, no, no. And you're like, what do you need right now? Maybe you need to know that this came about when you were 5. And you're a few decades past 5. I don't need this much protection. So it's literally working with, instead of like, oh, that would be scary, and stopping. That's what most people do. They hit that wall and they stop. And I'm saying, dive in, discover, navigate with it, negotiate with it, and then see what happens. So
I love it. I love it. So I wrote down secondary gain then is safety.
Oh, I didn't answer it.
Right?
I give you a
That's
technique,
okay.
but
I will answer it for you.
well, sorry.
And ultimately, if you chunk up, right, secondary gain is love. We all want love. If you can chunk it up far enough. And once you realize, well, so I'm self-sabotaging. That was another one of my questions. I'm self-sabotaging in order to get love. So I'm hurting myself in order to get love. Can I do that in a healthy way? Yes. So what's a healthy way?
Right.
Right. And so it's I love
Yeah,
I
let me tell you a
love.
story. Thank
Yes,
you,
yes,
thank you.
yes.
I'm sorry, I like totally went into fixing without describing it. Okay,
That's okay.
so there's two words: payoff and secondary gain. I was working with a
Mm-hmm.
client, and um, sh every strategy I'd lay down, we'd have these brilliant strategies, like, okay, boom, 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 you're gonna do this, and the next week she didn't do it, and the next week she didn't do it. Revise the strategy, didn't do it, and I'm like, ah. And so I went to the here's my one of my favorite techniques, and I said, okay, dude, we're just gonna call her dude. This is totally illogical, but what would happen if you got the thing? What's the negative thing that would happen if you actually made the money and got what you wanted? And she went, oh, I'd be able to leave my husband. So the secondary gain of not making the money for her was she didn't have to look at her marriage challenges. So the payoff, if you will. So she was getting something. So then I had to kind of break that apart. So if you're ever stuck, just go, what's the potentially scary thing that, and I'll say it's not logical, because your brain's going to go, there's nothing scary about making more money. If you're stuck, there's nothing. So just illogical, just the first answer that comes, what's the potentially scary thing about getting this? What's the potentially good thing about not getting it? You have to ask the question both ways. And so sometimes, like when I was as a younger mom, the secondary gain is like, I was afraid that if I got really busy, I would lose my kids. And I grew up with an alcoholic mom, and I'm like, I don't want to be a bad mom. So I would sabotage, I wouldn't follow through. And I wasn't conscious of that until I went, that's what it is. I'll never be like my mother, right? But my behaviors, subconscious, was moving that around, because it was, you can't be a bad mom, you can't be a bad mom. Does that make sense?
It's such a sub program, isn't it?
It's
Such a
such a
sub.
oh my gosh. And that's, again, when you understand, if you're not getting what you want, it's something in your subconscious, because it's not that you're not smart enough, it's not that you're not a hard worker. So you literally can say, what does this remind me of, and how old do I feel right now? And if you feel any younger than your chronological age, like, it's not your grown self. Like, oh, it reminds me of when my dad told me I couldn't do that. Or it reminds me of, gosh, when I was 10 and my sister, blah, blah, blah. Okay, then you got to talk to that. Okay. I'll let
No,
my
Therese,
panel
thank
go.
you. Thank you.
Huh?
And I know I grabbed your questions. Ha ha ha.
No worries.
I know both Sinette and I, even before you finished, we both were like, because we
Okay.
already knew where
Yeah.
you were. But again, I think the beauty of, no matter, we can ask almost similar questions,
Mm-hmm.
and you're still going to get such a unique and empowering answer
Right.
around, because now something just hit me, and I'm going to talk coach to coach. And
Yes.
for the coaches out there that are going into this business world, there is a difference between therapy and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I, we, in your book, you do correlate so much of our past
Mm-hmm.
into why we are showing up the way we
Mm-hmm.
are. But not like, so for instance, for me, I do not go into any style of therapy whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
My clients come to me and they are ready, like rocket fuel, to
Mm-hmm.
really empower. But it is so important to understand, did you ever go into that work? Have you done therapy or any, certain counseling, right, to help you understand that? Because you just said so much of our younger self shows up
Mm-hmm.
in our adult life. And the
Mm-hmm.
two are where the gray area exists, and which causes us to have these big visions, these grand intentions, and yet we are pulled so perfectly into the pattern. And that's where most of us spend our life. So knowing that coaching at times is a
Mm-hmm.
delicate,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll use that word, dance
Mm-hmm.
of not going into therapy and staying really true to authenticity as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
But as a coach, knowing, ooh, there might be this space that I need to address. Maybe give some pointers to the audience that is in this space of,
Right.
I am
Right.
a coach, I'm not a therapist or a counselor or a
Yeah.
social
Yeah.
worker.
It's a little harder for me, Laura, because I was a therapist for 2 decades,
I
right? And I still, it's super similar. Wink, wink.
know, I
It's
know.
very similar. And so I think when I very first started, I was like, what's the difference? What's the difference between therapy and life coaching? And the explanation that I was told or kind of got at the time was therapy is like processing the what, the why, and I, so that's the therapy goes back, pulls up, let's revisit that, let's revisit that. Okay. Coaching is more, where do you want to create moving forward? But it's not that simple. And as a person, I was in a coaching program as a client, and the person did Bob Proctor stuff, just all the Bob Proctor stuff, right? Very science of getting rich, kind of just literally think it. And I'm like, cool and all. I am so stuck in something back here that all these writing the hundreds of affirmations, I'm cool, but I'm getting more frustrated and real pissed off. I'm spending all this money because you're not attending to, like, there's a 5-year-old in me that's dying right now, right? And so what I would say, if you're a coach and like, gosh, all my forward moving techniques. So option A, you refer to a therapist if that feels out of your purview. Now, obviously, if you're a coach, don't be talking about sexual abuse. Don't be talking about trauma. Don't be talking about eating disorders. That is way out of your worldview. Like, you should not be touching that. You should stay in scope, right? But a lot of us in the coaching space, we need to be trauma informed as well. Like, there's a thing of like, how can you tell, like, just the concepts of like, wow, you're in a free state. Wow, your nervous system is really really dysregulated. Like, so some people come to us and they have not had a lot of trauma, and they're like, those are the high achievers. Like, get it, like, boom. Have you had a good family? Have you had minimal trauma? Have you done a bunch of work? Cool. You're going to go fast. You have had this, might take you a bit longer. And so understanding, because I'll give you an example. One of my clients was going through a divorce, and she was shooting. Well, I should want this. I should want to go big. I should want to go big because that's what they say. They say go big. And I'm like, can your nervous system really handle that? And she's like, oh God, no. And I'm like, exactly. And so it's one thing, we do these platitude-y, like, let's build your empire. You have to, so you don't even have to know all about this stuff, but you have to say, does it work with their values? Does it work? Like, when I was a young mom with small kids, I couldn't hustle. I couldn't put all the time in. So you have to kind of customize, am I working with a high achiever that's got tons of capacity, lots of resources? Am I working with somebody that's got maybe they're a little slower? Like if here's the starting gate, and some people are at the starting gate. I was 7 miles before the starting gate. I had to do so much work just to get to normal, right? And so so sometimes, because I think it's easy, coaches want to make promises. Oh, it'll take 6 months. It'll take 4 months. I learned I don't do that because I don't know what's in your nervous system. So you just maybe ascertaining, like, what's your background? Have you done therapy? Have you had trauma work? Do you, how resilient are you? How do you like to be coached? I'm kind of a kick-ass. Like, I'm like, girl, what in the heck, right? Or do you need and loving, right? Do you need pushing? Do you need encouragement? Do you need to talk? Do you want to do some journaling on maybe see to me? So you don't have to have the therapy tools, but you have to, I think, be trauma informed and understand where people are, because not everybody's in the same place. Did that answer your question?
So beautifully. And this is why I wanted to ask this, because again, our listening community, I believe, and I'm sure
coaches
knows why I asked that. It's so important because someone like me, I'm ICF, ACA accredited, all of that. And I don't practice any of that because I've gone off my own. But I love how you differentiated. It's not that you have to be certified in it, but you have to be informed about it because of that. And I think we all know that. But again, there may be someone listening that's moving in a direction they didn't expect. They're kind of coming upon that little nudge. And they're not completely set up, but reading and researching books and listening to podcasts and TV shows gives you that base that starts to inform you, which I think is important. And again, as coaches and as authors and distilling knowledge and inspiration, I think it's important also to sometimes bring in that level of expertise that we do get excited, right? We want to empower, but it's delicate because someone may be not even near the starting block, let alone know how to use it. So thank you. I think beautifully answered.
Thank you.
I love that. So we've got Christina said, good thing we love to dance. And then she said, what, who the heck are they anyway? I
I
love
know,
that.
all the theys, the darn theys. Yeah.
So, my beautiful Therese, I get a lot of people that, or I meet a lot of people through my coffee chat that think they cannot do something. They need this certificate and I
Yeah.
need this, and then I will ask them, what have you done? Then they've got a string of, and then
Exactly.
I ask them, when will that be enough? When will it be for you
Jesus
enough?
question.
Yeah. So I've got a question for you because a lot of my questions has now been taken, but I want to ask you this question. I love to think myself as a minister.
Hmm.
Oh,
Hmm.
Can you please tell us about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So let me just make a distinction here. Um, the people that I'm writing to are not just greedy capitalists want to get a few bucks in the door. The people that I'm speaking to, the ones that we're all talking to, are heart-centered, mission-based. We know our work is here to make a big difference. So FYI. And the way I frame that is that your work is your ministry. And some people get glitchy over the term ministry. It's not, I'm not trying to say it in the Christian term. I'm saying it in the verb to minister to care to care for, to hold. And so it's different when I'm like, if I were a business owner, I'm like, oh crap, I got to get money in the door. I got to I got to learn how to do the business. I'm like when I taught literally I taught my inner game of marketing. I was like, guess what? I love marketing. And they're like, what? I'm like, I do. You want to know why? Because somebody out there is praying for what I'm offering. And what happens is when we think transactionally, like I have to sell something, I need to get clients, like we're going to capture, we're like on a safari, we're capturing them, I have to get them or sell them. When I think of it, I'm like, I am so blessed to get to serve. And I know on a soul level, I firmly believe this. And here's a funny story. I used to say, oh, somebody out there is praying for you. And not just like, may all beings be peaceful, like not the Buddhist prayer, the like, somebody's literally suffering. Somebody is struggling. Somebody's like, God, please, God, I can't take another day of this. And I used to say, somebody out there is praying for you. And I actually, a few years ago, a friend of mine, her name was Kathy, introduced me to somebody. And I was explaining that I blend business and spirituality. And she's like, I have literally been praying for somebody like you. And I'm like, really? Like, really? She's like, I've literally never known anybody that blended. And I'm like, wow, my theory was correct. And so when I think of that, it is such a higher level. It's not a transaction. It's not like I'm going to sell you. It's like I get to serve you. I get to minister to you. Your soul has brought you to me. Ooh, that is the highest work. The highest work.
That is incredible. I got tears in my eyes when
Yeah, I'm all tingly too.
I had to read through that. So we've got beautiful Scylla Karina. She's all the way from Australia. Such an
Nice.
interesting conversation with an amazing panel. Love it.
Thank you,
Thank
Zilla.
you, my beautiful Scylla. So, my beautiful Gail, your turn.
I I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm
Let's see your
frozen
background.
here.
You're frozen. You're
Got
not
you.
frozen. You're not frozen. Your background changed though. I like your background. That is
Oh,
creative. I love.
so crazy. So you're frozen to me. So if I'm not frozen to you,
Okay.
that's good because I have a question.
Okay.
So, Therese, um, I am wondering. You talk about the noisy mind.
Yes.
Can you tell me what the monkey brain is like, and one of the techniques you use to kind of calm that down?
I have such a good technique. Okay. So again, the voice of the soul is never it again, remember it's a pull, it's like a curiosity, it's like it's kind of like a roller coaster, like oh my god, woof, it's kind of like that. It's never like you're so stupid it'll never work. Okay, so that's the subconscious, or that's just the epigenetic stuff that you've carried in that's protecting you. It's other people's, it's not yours. Okay, so the way I framed it This is so good. I'm a big dog person, as you might not. He's not here, the dog. I'm in an office where the door closed, so dog can't bark. So imagine, Gail, if like, okay, I really want to do this, and then I'm sorry. You decide, not like, oh, maybe someday. You're like, oh, I'm freaking having this. Ah! Once we decide, everything starts rolling. Then everything in us is like, oh God, oh, we're gonna keep her safe. Oh my gosh. So then it starts. It's not gonna work. Really? But what if they think? What if nobody buys? And it's going to do right? And most people hear that, and some people actually go, "See, that's a sign from God." No, it is not a sign from God. Number one, God does not talk in fear. Let's go there. All right. God only speaks in love and possibility and cool, good feelings. That is not a sign from God. Okay. Number one. Number two, you do not want to go, okay, I'm sorry. Like, this is what usually happens. Like, okay, I won't do it. I was silly. I'll think less. What you do is say, what's your favorite dog? Because here's my deal. If somebody comes to the door, my dog was going to be barking because he's wired to alert. That's what dogs do. So somebody comes, right? Now I, as owner, don't go, oh, okay, you're right. Oh God. I don't go hide under the bed. I just go, shh. Thanks for doing your job. I got this. Go lay down. So let's take it to this. The little voice, I literally say, what dog is it? Is it a cute little pit bull? Is it like a little chihuahua or a doodle? Or is it a little Parma? You're like, shh, oh, you're so adorable. You're telling me I'm going to fail? Oh, you're so cute. Now go lay down. And it's literally when you pair it with that, so it literally becomes a barking dog. So remember, when you have awareness, you have choice. Ah, there's a barking dog. Then you embody it with a dog, and you go, shh, go lay down. It's very fun. People are like, oh my God, that's magical. So great question. I got to give a technique.
Well, so simple. It can't work. Are you crazy?
Because I've had so many dogs bark over the times I'm on the Zoom. I'm like, Jesus, it's a dog again. So anyway, yeah. Perfect. I'm glad you like that one.
Beautiful. So, my beautiful Laura, we almost at paparazzi time, but you do have a short question, and then we can go into paparazzi.
All right. So I'm going to just say the question, short phrase, and then you can give a somewhat simplistic answer.
Okay.
You refer to, which I love. I'm all about. There's two things in life, right? It's either a trigger or it's a mirror, and then we can go into lots of discussions on both those pathways. How to use the triggers to course correct. And you write all about this, and I love this. So
yes.
a little bit about this.
Embrace the triggers. I've said it before, lean in. Don't go, oh, that's a bad thing. Go, that is so interesting. What do you have for me? What are you trying to show me?
I love that. I love that. And again, I know our listeners, but we have new ones all the time coming into the community. This is the empowerment of this show. Look at the coaching through the questions and the answers that the audience is getting. Free knowledge, applicable information to gain wisdom and insight. And you can put this information that you're sharing to anything, any relationship. I always look at first myself, right? As you said, if we do not serve ourselves to our highest and best, then we show up in a disingenuous manner to others. But then with my spouse or my children or my creative, family out in the world. So I love everything. I love the book. It's phenomenal. Really, truly get it. It's going to, so I've just created a new course called the Empowerment Shift. And it's something when I read your book, it made me think about it in that way. Business shift,
Cool.
empowerment shift. So fabulous. But thank you. But are we ready for the speed round? Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you 5 words, one at a time, and you can give a brief little gut.
Okay.
All right. So this is your soul connecting to the energetic, right, structure of the word. That's between my language to you. All right. First word, energy.
Is everything.
I knew that was coming. Beautiful. Woo. All right. Second word, which I just asked you a question, but I think it's important. Triggers.
are to be mined.
Ooh, love that.
Mind those babies.
All right, third word. I love this. I was going to have a question. Recommit.
I can't just do a word. I gotta say, I'm Irish. I have the gift of gab. So let me. I think recommitting. I'm going to put a verb on that. Is our hope for growth, because we fall off and we just recommit and recommit and recommit. So it's kind of daily. It's whenever we need. There's no there's no shame in it. That's the word. No shame in recommitting.
I love that. I thought that was such an empowering word in the book, and the way
Yeah.
you framed it. Recommit daily, and I love that.
Yeah.
And now really bringing it to hope. So
Mm-hmm.
empowering. All right. We hear this word all the time, but I think it's so important to always touch upon the awareness around it.
Mm-hmm.
Transformation.
It's our birthright. It's how we're wired. It's how we spread more joy and love and good in the world.
Nice. Great answer. And our last one, in honor of your heartfelt book around the word business.
You can't take your life out of your business.
Oh, nice. I love that round.
Mic drop. Boom.
I'll do this. I'll go boom. There we go. Fairy wand.
Boom. Shakalaka. Boom.
I love that. Cool.
I loved it. Thank you, my beautiful Laura. And you have time for that short question that you wanted to ask, but I just want to let everyone know. Please look down below in the show notes. Therese's book is there, a summary of her book, and also the link to go and buy her book. And then all the other details to connect with her, to connect with all our beautiful panel, even Krista and Howard. And please do so, because you never know what is going to happen. Miracles upon miracles on a connection. Truly, today I had miracle connections, and I'm truly honored to have danced with all of those amazing people. So, my beautiful Laura, you have time for a short question before we will go over to the dance.
All right, wonderful. So you write about, and I love this. This is one of my tenets, also my principles. But for the listeners, talk as if you are already the future you.
Mhm.
Right? Live from that identity you want to step into. So again, high empowering question. What's your answer for the audience?
Well, there's not an answer. That's what to do. So I think what happens is there's the law of attraction. I want to attract this, but then there's the law of Neville Goddard, the law of assumption. That's even way more fun, because I'm like, I need to attract. Oh, no. I need to assume that it's already done. I am already it. And so instead of like, when it comes, if it comes, I hope it comes, you're like, it already happened. And I do that with my clients. How did that feel? So Lori, it already happened. You already made the millions. You're already on the stages. Speak from that version of you. Ooh, you wired in your body, and then you're in the frequency more likely to attract it, instead of like, when it happens, if that's outside of yourself. So you just, law of assumption, Neville Goddard, it's already happened.
I love it. It's beautiful. So we're just catching up to what's already there.
Yeah, right. Because it would not be in your mind if it wasn't in a parallel reality already possible. You would not envision it or feel it if you weren't supposed to have it. That's a huge thing to believe.
Oh,
And
love it. Thank you.
Oh, my
Wonderful.
beautiful Therese, you are amazing. How are you feeling at this moment?
Well, I published this book 5 years ago, and I have not done it. And I'm like, it's actually really good. So I'm feeling very proud, and I've had so much fun with, like, these are great questions. I really enjoyed this. It's like, I feel so blessed to be able to be here and share my message. So thank you.
Wow, thank you. Christiana said, oh, amazing show. Let's dance. So, my beautiful Therese, my beautiful Laura, my beautiful Gail, thank you so much for coming through. My beautiful viewers and my beautiful Dharma beauties. Would you love to have a dance with us?
Woo!
Ooh, they they said yes. They said yes. I didn't even ask the three of you. I just assumed. And I know what assumed mean. But ladies, will you have a dance with me?
Yes, of course,
Absolutely.
of course.
Oh, thank you, ladies. I had to backtrack there fast now. Just give me 1 second. Here we go.